Welcome back, everybody, to the Even Your Dynasty show. How's it going, Dan?
Good, buddy. I see you. You chose violence today, huh?
Yeah, I'm just making friends. That's what I do.
There you go.
Dan has seen this part of me. For those of you that do follow me on X, I usually try and keep it pretty wholesome. Sometimes I get a little snarky, and I got people hitting that block button today. It's fun.
The Chinese food had you acting up today, bro.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I appreciate everybody hanging out. Sorry, we were a few minutes late today. Baby took a little longer than usual to go down, and I had to scarf some dinner and get blocked by some people on X. So thanks for the patience. Today we're going to talk a little bit about spring training. You know what they say, optimism is in the air. Everybody's in the best shape of their lives, and you can't say anything negative. So,
Tis the season.
It's the season. But yeah, so we got a lot of good stuff. But the first thing I want to talk about before we get into all the good stuff, as Cole says here, we're almost 1.5 thousand subscribers, and we are about 10 away right now. So if we get up to 1,500, we're gonna do the giveaway on today's video. Ricky actually has the giveaway, and Dan and I are kind of in the dark on what the item is. So
yeah.
Could be awesome. It could not be. I don't really know. All I know is it has to do with Patrick Bailey.
What's the saying? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Sure.
That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, you guys get give them the 1,500 by the end of the show, and we'll do the giveaway tonight.
Yeah, for sure. So if you enjoy it, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We'll send a couple reminders throughout. If we are able to do it, we will tell you guys exactly how to get entered. It will be at the back end of the show, like towards the very end of it. Yeah. Oh, oh, Nick, you're killing me. So we'll try and get that. Ricky will be joining us here in a little bit. We're gonna do some bold. Once he gets on, we're gonna do some bold predictions for spring training and as well as the season. So it's gonna be both the kids. It'll be about a lot of what's going on with the big league team. I'm sure it'll be positive if Cove Chatter's walking. So don't need to be concerned. And
sorry to cut you off. When you said we're going to get to bold predictions and you had a stuttered, I thought you were going to say we're going to get to bowling.
No, Ricky's got us covered there.
There you go.
Yeah, he'd rather hang out with his work friends. Man. Aaron, you know what? This is on our list of to-dos.
Next year.
It's not going to be this year. Yeah.
Next year, we're planning it.
And next year will be probably pretty heavily dependent on if there's if I have another Rugrat running around. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. No announcement going out there, guys. I promise that ain't happening right now. But yeah, so let's talk a little spring training. So I think the big news of the day came from Bob Melvin. I think that we're going to talk about some different storylines that are kind of out there, but Bob Melvin did talk, and he left a couple nuggets in there. I'll let Dan share that because he actually, it sounds like, listened to that interview more than I did.
Yeah. I mean, the big one today that everyone was talking about was how they plan on having Jung Hoo Lee in the 30 hole and having Lamonte Wade lead off, which definitely caused quite a bit of an uproar. We'll touch on that for sure. Then in addition to that, one piece that we all were kind of under the assumption, but they confirmed it, Ryan Walker, full-time closer. Additionally going on, they're hinting at a DH competition between Encarnacion and Wilmer. You all know who I'm going for. And then secondly, there is going to be a competition for the 5th spot in the rotation between Birdsong and Harrison. So that'll be pretty cool to see how it shakes out. Apparently, Harrison's got his velocity back up, so we'll see how that all looks in the spring. But yeah, those are some of the big nuggets that were dropped. And then they said Tom Murphy's healthy. Whoop-de freaking do. And then they say Wilmer's in the best shape of his life. So there, a few things like that. So yeah, we'll dive in a little bit on that. But what does this say? Wade batting first, and when we're playing, we're gonna have steals. I know, right?
Let's If those guys combine for 5 steals, I will eat my shirt on the show. There's no chance in hell.
Wait. Nick says that Pavlovich was mentioning that they're big on Meckler. To do what?
Man, Dan is going to be down bad today.
You guys Giants are pissing me off today. They want us. They want him to be the 25 or 26th guy. He might be the 25th or 26th, best player on the freaking what's that team in the I can't think of the name. Staten Island Ferry Hawks. Yeah, he might maybe 25 or 26 on their team.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't get me started, man.
I love it. All
Dale
right,
Murphy and Tom Murphy.
Love it, guys. Keep bringing it in the chat. Yeah, so I'll kind of go piece by piece on these. I'd say the first thing, let's just hop in on Meckler really quick. We'll talk about that. I have openly said that Wade Meckler would be a great 26th man on a roster. He is a kind of an ideal last guy on your bench because, I mean, for starters, you can't really play him anywhere defensively. If you could play him somewhere defensively, we'd feel a bit stronger about him getting more playing time. But the problem is when you're a slap hitting, no power, hit for average guy, you kind of only profile at second base and center field. Well, he's unplayable in center field. And really in Oracle Park, he's unplayable in right field. So that leaves him at left field. And now they're working him at second base. Well, supposedly they're really high on Fitzgerald after what he did last year and what he showed. So he's not going to get a ton of reps there. And frankly, Casey Schmidt's a better defensive second baseman, as is Brett Wisely. It's just going to be like, can he hit? So to me, Meckler does make a ton of sense as a 26th man end of the bench guy that you can basically put into pinch hit late in a game if you believe in his hit tool, make, in a situational at bat or even pinch run him. Did I just cut out? Sorry, my screen went black for a second. Good. Yeah, so you can use him in as a pinch runner, pinch hitter, and in a pinch if you got to stick him in left field and kick Ramos to right, I feel like anyone can really play left field. I mean, for God's sake, Michael Morse, Jock Peterson, and Blake Sable all played left field at one point for the Giants. You could put anyone out there, even Meckler. So in a pinch, you could use them. So I don't mind that they're high on them, but if he's going to get significant playing time, I have serious questions, especially with his defense being as suspect as it is.
No, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody knows my beef with Meckler is just purely from a defensive standpoint. I am perfectly fine with him being a bench hitter, comes off in a situational appearance just to, do a slap hit and get on base or drive somebody in potentially. I'd take him over, second half Brett Wisely for sure. But yeah, as far as having the tools to go 60-40 outfield to infield, yeah, I'm not buying anything defensively.
Until he shows it, it's hard to. I mean, I've watched this guy.
He's watching live.
I mean, yeah. I watched it live. He misplayed 2 fly balls in one game that I was at. And it's not an irregular occurrence with him. It is often. So I'm not I don't throw the word unplayable out there often. He is unplayable in the outfield in San Francisco, in center or right. Left field, you can deal, but it's pretty rough.
Ricky.
These guys.
Faces for radio.
Hey, man, I got told I looked like John Boy.
That was funny.
It was. It's hilarious. All right, George. I would say the kid who delivers the newspaper playing left field for Wade Meckler, delivery boy, has a way better arm. Yeah, he doesn't have a great arm. That's for sure. He can fly. And because of that, if he's playing next to Lee, he probably could, have some value in that role. But it would have to be off the bench. You can't be starting him over Elliot Ramos. You can't be starting him over Luis Matos. And I mean, I've seen people criticize Luis Matos and some of his routes, and people have questions about his defense. Wade Meckler is several tiers below that. So that's where it's okay, I mean, he better hit about 320 because if you're not going to have any pop and you're going to and steal a bunch of bags, because if you're not going to have any pop and you're going to be way subpar in the outfield, that's going to be a problem. So
yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah. So that would be the Meckler thing. As far as backup catcher, I mean, y'all know how I feel about Tom Murphy as a catcher. If Tom Murphy is the DH, maybe I might think about him a little differently, but as a catcher, he's pretty putrid. So
one more season.
It's hard to be optimistic about that one. Sorry, I can't even pretend on that. I can't stand watching Murphy catch, but that's just me. Hopefully he hits about 18 tanks like he did with Seattle a couple years ago, and we can just be happy that he did that, because it's ugly behind the plate. He's 2 for his last 40 on throwing base stealers out, for anybody that's wondering, over the last 2 years.
Yeah. I'm not even going to say anything. We're supposed to be optimistic today, guys.
Yeah.
Cody got in trouble, so
yeah, I'm on timeout.
He's on timeout.
Nah, I mean, it's tough because, I mean, it's not the end-all, be-all being able to throw runners out. I mean, Bailey's numbers when it came to caught stealing percentage weren't like otherworldly, but that's because the Giants pitching staff is horrible at holding runners on. So, like, I give Bailey a pass for a lot of that stuff because he actively does get the ball out of his hand quick, and he makes mostly pretty good throws. A lot of times it's just the base, the stolen bases are truly on the pitcher in those cases. Yep. But you watch Murphy, and like he doesn't do anything to help his pitchers at all. And you can't have that with a staff that can't hold runners. Like, that's just a problem. Yeah. So they're going to really have to improve that. Yeah, pretty rough. I was hoping for Sam Huff to like make some noise, and maybe
hopefully.
Yeah, maybe if he has a huge camp, maybe that tone will change. But yeah, we'll see on that one.
Hopefully. What's up, Tom? Other Tom, Greg.
Yeah, Greg, he's got a good one. Hey guys, love the podcast. Talk about what you think of Fitzy. I've been a Giants fan my entire life, and I really like the guy. Yeah, Tyler Fitzgerald is a very likable player. I love the speed element he brings. He's got 100th percentile sprint speed, according to Baseball Savant, which, when I have a hard time believing he's as fast as Ellie, but, allegedly the sprint speed matches up. Guy can fly, and he would be a favorite if he plays all year to end that, lack of 30 stolen base seasons since Dave Roberts in 2007. I think if he plays 162 or 145, 150 games, I think it'll be a lock. He's already come out and said that he's going to be way more aggressive this season, swiping bags. He stole 17 last year. I do think he got kind of the jerk around early in the year when he was in more of a bench role, where he was kind of afraid to make mistakes, and he did make a couple base running errors. I think it got in his head a little bit. I do expect him to be way more aggressive there. Now, under the hood, you look at the numbers. I don't think we can ever expect him to have the kind of power display when he was, Barry Lamar Fitzgerald for 2 weeks. I don't think we should ever count on that happening again. He has been streaky with homers in his career in the minors and majors, but that was absurd. And really, you look at his power, his overall numbers on the year, they got carried by that like 3 or 4 week stretch. Yeah, where he hit for insane power, was hitting for a high average, everything. But, I do like to look at the big picture on the year. He got on base at a really good clip. If he can put the ball in play more, cut down on the strikeouts, cut back down on the swing and miss, at least get it down to like 25% or better, because he was at like 31%. If he can get those down, I could see him, the on base being a bit more sustainable, because the batted ball metrics, they didn't like it. All the stuff, it kind of indicates that he kind of outperformed the expected numbers last year. And I think it starts with just getting the ball in play more with his speed. So if he does that and he can get on base, I mean, to me, he's an ideal leadoff guy in today's game, where you just get on base is kind of the thing.
Yeah, the three of us are, pretty much optimistic over regarding Fitzgerald overall. I mean, like you touched on, his speed is super intriguing. You kind of hit the nail on the hammer, or nail on the head, whatever you want to say, with the comment regarding, him cutting down some of the swing and miss. It's probably the only thing that, we saw a little bit too much of that last year. But I mean, if he can get, 12 to 15 bombs, bat around, 265-ish, 270 range, and get you, 30 plus stolen bases while playing, above average defense, that'd be great, because he was not cut out to be shortstop last year, in my opinion. But he's been focusing pretty much purely on second throughout the offseason, apparently. So I think he's got much brighter defensive upside at that position. So I'm hyped to see what a full year of Fitz looks like.
Yeah. And him, and him getting to focus on one position. That seemed to help him last year.
Yeah.
And that he's going to get to do it again this year. I think that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And there was that article, it was in the Chronicle, I think. They commented on him. He kind of did a quick interview. I think it might have been with Slusser. I don't remember. But he has the self-awareness to know that, realistically, he did not have the arm for shortstop. He's like, he even said, he's like, my arm's not bad, but those guys usually have a cannon and I don't have that gear. So he knows that throw from second base, it's going to be a lot better for him.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Nah, I feel the same way, Ziggy. I went at her again today too.
Yeah, they butted heads today. Cody got let out of his cage today, man.
Yeah. Sometimes, it's like Dan said, sometimes I have these like random days where I'll just wake up and choose violence and call it good. And I'm like, hey, let's piss some people off today. Oh, well, if they can't take a joke, that's their problem. Yeah.
I was going to say, George brought up Matos, which is a good one that I wanted to talk about. If he can carry that momentum from the Winter League, I would love to see him, land a spot at least starting out as a fourth outfield role, and then hopefully he can take a job from Yaz. But yeah, we're super high on Matos, and we hope that the Winter League wasn't a fluke and he can, carry that momentum going on, because Cody's been saying he's like this close to breaking out. So if he can bring that over and, show what he did over in Venezuela throughout the spring, there's a good chance, he can start to take off.
Yeah. It feels like he should, but I'm never gonna predict that a guy is gonna I'm never gonna predict with 100% certainty, especially at the major league level, that a guy is gonna just take off. I'm gonna be doing, next week you guys will see a video where I'm gonna be talking about which young minor league guys I expect to break out this season, the guys I'm predicting. But I have a hard time predicting a guy at the major league level, he's gonna do it. We hope he does, and he has looked like he is so close to doing it, and he just hasn't for whatever reason. And I'm hoping they can get away from the mental part, get out of his way when it comes to the mental side of that this year, because I felt like part of the issue was the way that he kind of got jerked up and down. Casey Schmidt talked about it at one point where when he was on with us, he talked about that kind of effed him up mentally when he would come up thinking, I got to go hit 400 or they're going to send me right back to Sacramento in 3 days. And you just can't have the young guys feeling like that. So I think if they can get out of his way a little bit, it's going to free him up some. Yeah. And unfortunately, I don't think he's going to get to play every day unless he just rakes, in which case, maybe they'll stick with Yaz a little bit in the platoon, but they'll get Matos the extra at bats at DH or something like that. He could be a wild card with Flores and Herrera in that respect, but I think he'll at least win the, strong side or the weak side of the platoon role.
Yeah.
That would be my expectation.
Hope so.
Yeah. Just want to see him stick. He's a good kid.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, we can talk about the one that got me blocked by people.
Yeah, let's dive into that.
Yeah. So for the big news, I think, and this is the one that I struggle with, because it's like I said earlier, there are a lot of things to be optimistic about with the Giants. I know not everybody may agree with me there, and I'm not here to tell anybody how to fan, but to me, and it's not just the big league club. Like I'm optimistic about a lot of things with the Giants. Like I'm looking forward to seeing Adames. I'm looking forward to seeing even 42-year-old Justin Verlander. I mean, yeah, it sucks that like a guy like Birdsong is probably going to get kicked out of the rotation early on, but I mean, the guy's a future Hall of Famer, and I do think he has some more good innings in his arm. So I mean, I'm excited to watch him pitch like more closely than I ever did in Detroit or Houston. So like that's exciting. Seeing guys like Ramos get a full year, Lee get a full year, that Fitz getting the full year at second. Like there's a lot to be looking forward to. But sometimes they just like to like piss in your shampoo bottle and drop a nugget like, hey, Lamonte Wade is going to lead off again, or something along those lines, where it's like, I get the logic. I do. And this is where I kind of went back and forth with some people today. I get the logic behind he's an elite on base guy. He had like a 380 something on base last season in 400 plate appearances. Phenomenal. I mean, it was all first half. You watch the second half, his numbers fell off a cliff. And people can point to the injuries. He's always injured. Like it's part of the game. But I get that part, but he's like 7th percentile sprint speed. And I'm not here suggesting that speed is more important than on-base skills. But you do need like a minimum amount of speed for you to like retain your value of getting on base to set the table for people. I would happily take a Fitzgerald or a Lee with a 330 on base percentage over the guy with a 380 in the leadoff spot, because the quality of your opportunities when those guys get on base, way higher. And that's my issue. And I did send a joke tweet out today where I was like, I can see it now. Wade's going to single or draw a walk. Adames is going to rip a double. Wade's not going to score on the double. He's going to be on third base. And then like Lee and Chapman will both hit fly balls that Wade can't tag up on. And then we're going to be sitting there hoping Ramos comes through with 2 outs. And it's going to be like a repeat of last year, where the Giants were just dreadful with a runner on third, but it gets amplified when you have a guy that is like one of the slowest players in baseball. So like, that's my mindset on this. And it's not that I think Lamonte Wade's a bad player, but like, to me, he needs to be down a little bit in the order. And I mean, with their lack of lefties, the case could be made to hit him third. I get it. I'm not hugely fond of it, but he does hit for a decent average. He could keep the line moving when you get a guy like Fitzgerald on base, but I don't like him in the leadoff spot. I got so tired of it the last couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, we feel the same, clearly. It's one of those things, and like you touched on it, Ricky touched on it today, where I understand the logic. You want your leadoff guy to get on base. Lamonte, in my opinion, he's a one-trick pony, meaning he can work a count. He can work a count and draw walks, and that's why he's got a pretty high on-base percentage. That's great. The problem is the biggest weakness, in my opinion, offensively last season was the inability to drive runners in when they're on base, let alone scoring position. So you run into one of these things where we saw multiple times last year, Lamonte would literally hit one in the gap and he would pull up just standing at first. We saw that on multiple occasions, or a case where he or Wilmer hypothetically are on first, someone ropes one into the gap and they're standing up on third, or for whatever reason, they try to risk it and they get thrown out. Right. So we saw situations like that on multiple instances. And like you said, it's tough when you're coming off a season where you're one of the worst teams in the league with runners on base and runners in scoring position. And now you're setting that expectation. Okay, we're going to put our slowest guy on the leadoff hole, knowing that there's, a 4 out of 10 chance that he's going to get on base. And some of the guys are going to come up to back him up. Like, yes, Adames excelled with runners in scoring position last year. Chappie, not so much. Love the guy, but not so much. And Jung Hoo Lee coming off injury might be a little rusty for a little bit. So it's like you're kind of placing a pretty big gamble with that. So yeah, I understand the logic. I don't agree with it, but hope for the best.
Exactly. So I struggle with that one big time. And his batted ball, it's funny because his batted ball metrics are not bad.
Yeah, they're
I
not
think he
bad.
sacrifices a lot of his power just trying to get on base, focusing more on that. I'd probably like the guy a little bit more if he was willing to sacrifice 20, 25 points off his on base and actually hit 18 home runs a year. Like, I think we'd all feel a little better about him there. But yeah, it's
like you and Ricky were talking about today. His sprint speed as far as percentile is in the 7th percentile. He's lower than Bailey. Bailey's your catcher.
Yeah, so let everyone digest that.
Your leadoff hitter is slower than your catcher. Like, I don't understand the logic in that. And then just the how many runs did he have last year? It was like 45 runs.
Oh yeah, he had 42.
He had 42 runs.
1 plate appearances.
Yeah. So it's you combine both of those things, and then you come out day 2 of pitchers and catchers reporting, and you're saying, all right, that's gonna be our leadoff guy. That's it doesn't make me feel the sense of optimism coming from the leadoff hole. That's just me.
Yeah, 100%. You have like, if you guys listened, or actually, let me circle back on what you just said there. Yeah, Ricky and I were doing the research on this during our expeditions on X and or adventures, whatever we want to call it. And Lamonte Wade Jr., I'm going to remove the home runs because I'm not going to count when they knocked themselves in. But you look at Wade, and he scored, if you remove his home runs, he scored 34 runs in 401 plate appearances while having a 380 something on base percentage, whatever it was. Tyler Fitzgerald, while his on base percentage was 50 points lower. If you take away his 15 home runs, he scored 38 runs in 326 plate appearances. So he scored more runs in less plate appearances while getting on base less. That right there is a perfect illustration why it's better to sacrifice a little bit on the on base for guys with speed, especially on a team that doesn't hit a ton of homers. Like, the Giants aren't the Phillies. The Giants aren't the the Yankees last year or the Dodgers. There's not as much value in just being a warm body that can get to first base, that the guy behind you might just pump one out of the yard.
Yeah.
And you can do your 7th percentile sprint around the bases while the guy jogs behind you. Like, there's not as much value in that. And that's just, I am very adamant on that. It's just how I feel about the leadoff spot.
I like this comment right here. Guys with speed create their own scoring chances. It's true.
100%. Look at Ellie every time the dude gets on base.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Tyler Fitzgerald's Ellie De La Cruz. He's not. He's not anywhere close to that. But, you look at when Ellie gets on base, and I think there was a stat that when he gets on base and he has a legitimate opportunity to run, he goes 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And by legitimate opportunity, I think it was the next pitcher or next batter needs to see more than 2 pitches. And he goes and not put the ball in play to where it doesn't count as an attempt. Somebody did the number breakdown last year, and he was literally going 90% of the time because he's so fast. And Fitzgerald has the opportunity to do stuff like that. Not every guy has the instincts, but it's crazy.
Remember when Soler was leading off? Good times.
The Giants last year, I think that's actually one of the things they did really well, is they were one of the best teams in baseball at getting their leadoff hitter on base.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were the worst team I've ever watched at getting a guy in from third with less than 2 outs, but they were one of the best teams in baseball at they're getting their leadoff guy on, and it didn't translate to a bunch of runs. Gee, I wonder why, because when Jorge Soler and Lamonte Wade Jr. are leading off a bunch of innings and they get on base at a 450 clip in those situations, they're slow and they don't score. So It just is what it is. This team struggles to piece hits together.
It is what it is. Hey, Jenny, welcome in.
Hey, Jenny.
Let's see. Are y'all going to do a giveaway for 1.5K? Yes, we are. That's going to be a gift courtesy of Ricky.
Yeah, I'm checking where we're at. Hey, we're 9 away. So anybody that wants us to do the giveaway, got to hit the subscribe button, and we'll be doing it. If we hit 1,500, we're like 9 away right now. I'll keep dropping reminders. And
should I give away a hoodie when we hit 2K?
Yeah,
you think people would be down for that?
Like Dan's modeling a new hoodie for anybody that wants to see it.
I'll show you guys. So this is the front. You got I designed these because I'm a fashion designer. I'm part-time. So you got the EYDShow in the front, and then in the back, guys, we got boom. Got the logo blasted on the back. So yeah, quality is phenomenal. Fit is great, super comfy. So yeah, if anybody, I got one for Cody, Ricky, and Cody's dad. But if you guys are interested, I might give one of these away when we hit 2K.
Yeah, we can always wait to order it or whatever until that way whoever wins, they can get the size and all that.
Yeah, that's the plan. But yeah, these things are clean.
Yeah, it looks nice, man.
Bro,
I'll be wearing that in April.
I worked hard on these.
Yeah. No, I know. You kept sending me updates, and you're like, what do you think of this? Yeah. So all the shout out to Dan for that one.
They also do like hats and shirts and mugs and all the cool stuff.
The Jung. Do you know anything about this? The Jung Hu crew?
Yeah, dude. They have a whole section that they're opening up at Oracle for Jung Hu Lee. I forget all the specs that go into it, but it looks pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, if they do, I was gonna say if they put as much effort into, it's because we're in this. If they put as much effort into, signing premier free agents as they do coming up with interesting crap to get people in the yard, then I think it could be pretty good.
Right. What up, Ricky?
What's up, man? You telling me Lamonte Wade doesn't bring people to the park?
This guy.
Oh man. Hey, Ricky, did you catch that earlier? I got blocked by like several people.
Really?
Yeah. I'm too
over
negative.
Lamonte Wade.
Yeah, man.
Oh man,
the stance came out.
Ziggy knows. That's right. We got 3 faces for radio now.
Yeah. Hey, look at this, guys. Look at this right? We'll buy for sure. There's enough interest. Cool. I'll make some to make a little site or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, someone's gonna have to confirm this for me. Did Bomel really have Jason Kendall have him lead off games at one point? Because I might be all the way out on Bomel if this is true.
I can actually find that right now.
Would that have been with the D-backs? Because I'm like, Kendall wasn't there that long with the A's, was he?
Yeah. Because
I feel like Bomel came in a little bit later on.
He was with the A's for 3 years.
But when? Bomel,
I thought Bomel came in
10 or 11.
Yeah, a little bit later on.
Jason Kendall has like 6 different looks depending on when you look at him in his career.
Hey, Jason Kendall was solid, man, but as a leadoff hitter, that's a little weird.
I don't think he overlapped with Bomel.
I don't think so either.
I think Kendall was with. I am blanking on his name, Bob something. He ended up going to the Mets for a long. Guerin. I'm pretty sure Kendall was there with Bob Guerin.
Yeah, maybe it was the other Bob.
In like the, I don't know, 06 to 08 range, somewhere in there, maybe.
You're close. It looks like 05 to 07.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. They went to the ALCS in 06.
Yeah, that was when they had Hudson Street and or Houston Street. I mean, sorry. Yeah, they had a decent squad back then.
When I think of Houston Street, I always think of Ray Durham's walk off onto the arcade.
Yeah.
Well, sadly, what I think of when I think of Street is, I think it was that year they got knocked off by the Tigers, I want to say, off of a walk-off homer he gave up in Detroit, if I'm not mistaken. It was a playoff series, and it ended their season. But he was a really good closer.
He was.
Short shelf lives with those guys. Like they'll be like super dominant and then kind of fall off the map once their stuff takes like a slight step back.
And that's why I said last year, not to bring this up again, but I said to trade Doval before his value tanked, because relievers are so volatile, and you got to sell high on those guys, because you can always find good relievers if you have a good pitching development system. And the Giants bring up like really solid high ceiling arms all the time from the minors. That's not something they struggle with necessarily.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's true.
Did you guys talk? I'm assuming you guys talked about the Lamonte Wade stuff earlier today.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because we were joking about how I got blocked by like 2 different people, and then our subs went down by a couple. Apparently, I turned someone away. My bad, everybody. If we don't do the giveaway, it's my fault.
See, I just don't understand it. It's like we have to be more objective. Like, we can't just be all sunshine and rainbows when it comes to a 500 at best team for the last 3-4 years. Like, we have to look at it from all angles. Like, we are definitely not pessimistic on everything. I feel like we're very realistic on a lot of things. We're not perfect, of course, but it's crazy when you can't criticize the role that a certain player is used in. Wade is not a terrible player. Nobody's saying that. It's just he is not consistent enough to be, a regular first baseman starting, 140, 150 games for you. Like, that's just not who he is. He doesn't hit for enough power, and he doesn't stay healthy enough is the issue. So, don't use him in the leadoff role. Hit him 8th.
Yeah.
Hit him 7th. That would be totally fine.
Yeah. Do you guys think the Giants not spending that 22 mil-ish is due to the lockout on the horizon, or is there a player they're going to go and try and get next season? I'm hoping it's the second. I hope it's the latter on that.
Yeah.
It's hard to know for sure, because Posey really hasn't been around long enough to know his MO on this kind of stuff. But it's like we've pointed out a bunch of times. It made sense for this team to take a step back on things like payroll and everything this season. Like, this is the year to do it. They're not truly super close to competing or truly contending, we should say. And they're not, this is a good time for them to figure out. They have a lot of young players up on the major league roster. Figure out what you got in those guys. Take the step back, get rid of the competitive balance tax, get rid of the repeater tax stuff that you would have to pay otherwise. It drops your penalties down when you go to sign qualifying offer players next offseason. Like, get all that stuff down, and then next figure out where you're at. And if you're pretty close to competing, but you're like, oh man, we're like a big lefty bat or a big outfielder away, back the Brinks truck up for Kyle Tucker. Go do something crazy. Go make a big trade for a guy that needs an extension and be prepared to drop the blank check in front of him. Like, go do something at that point. But this year it made less sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, just because you do have a little bit of extra wiggle room, don't spend it just to spend it. Ultimately, I look at, say it is 22 mil that they're working with, when it comes to the deadline, you give yourself a little bit of a cushion to eat a little bit of salary maybe and get a solid player while cutting some of the salary from that team that you're trading with, and you don't have to give up as big of a return if the Giants are competitive. But ultimately, it is on the players, not on Posey, to go out and prove that they can be at least a wild card contender and can force the team's hand into saying, hey, get us another bat for at least the rest of this year, even if it's a rental, and just give ourselves a shot to get in the dance, and then reevaluate the team next year. You got to look at stuff from a standpoint more than just this year. Doesn't mean they're not trying to compete this year, but look at it for the next 2-3 years to see, where you're going to be at. So you don't put yourself out of the mix for a Kyle Tucker, for, Pete Alonso, who might try to opt out after a year, It's like those are the kind of things that the Giants have to avoid. You just can't bring in players that don't want to be here and are going to screw you on picks and money and the tax.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right, so what else we got from we'll do some bold predictions here in a few minutes, but what else do we got from the Melvin thing? You said Harrison and Birdsong?
Yeah, Harrison and Birdsong going to compete for the 5th spot in the rotation. So we'll see how that goes in spring. I did want to touch on that one that you just grabbed. See what you guys think of it, because I'm hoping that helps translate to better stamina or whatever for Hicks. I don't like the whole concept of gaining weight in the spring to try and last the whole season, since we saw what happened with Bailey last year. But maybe it's different with pitchers. Ricky might be able to elaborate on that. But yeah, I'm hoping, because his first month was pretty solid last year. Then he fell off a freaking cliff. So.
Oh, man, I just got all excited. My phone sent me an update saying Giants pursuing minority sale. And I was like, oh, are they going to sell part of the team? New York Giants. Damn it.
Before I hopped on, I did the same thing, and I saw the Giants owner's name in there saying he wants to sell part of his stake. I'm like, yeah, bummer. Regarding Hicks, my thing is, unlike Bailey, those 15 pounds need to be good weight. A lot of that needs to be, muscle. Obviously, you can't expect him to gain 15 pounds of pure muscle, but it's got to be good weight. When Bailey came in looking heavier, it looked like he just started getting into a huge caloric surplus and just started packing them on, and it did not look like he was putting on muscle in the offseason at all. And maybe I'm completely wrong, but it didn't age well last year. So that's my thing on that. But also, it's going to be not only that, if he's doing that to build up his leg strength so his legs are less fatigued later in the season, and kind of trying to, build up the strength in his shoulder and his elbow, doing lighter stuff, fine. But he's got to maintain that throughout the season, before his starts and after his starts. And that needs to be consistent all the way through the season in order for that to actually hold up and keep his arm in good shape for the long haul of the season. Because if he's not doing that, it may be a month later into the season than it was last year, but we're probably going to see more of the same out of Hicks if he's not maintaining, that weight and his workouts to take care of his arm post throwing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the big thing, to kind of pile on there, obviously he's going to have to increase his endurance, but I do think a big thing for him is he needs to find a way to be more efficient. And like Ricky, and we've all talked about this in the past, he seemed like he would have a couple of really solid innings, and then he'd hit like the 3rd inning, and all of a sudden he faces like 7 batters, and might have only he gives up 1 or 2 runs, but he just is laboring. Every at bat is going deep, and you look down, and all of a sudden he's at 65 pitches through 3 or 70 pitches through 3, and he's just gassed, and he would only make it into the 4th, or couldn't get past the 5th. And at some point, you're one of the best pitchers in baseball when it comes to getting ground balls, and you're supposed to have one of the better defenses behind you. Put them to work, man. Don't make them bored. What is it from Bull Durham? He's like, strikeouts are boring. Let him put in play. It's more democratic. Like, use your defense, man.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. I mean, even though there are games where he would start out by just constantly getting behind in counts and starting out with a 30 pitch first inning, there are also plenty of times where he would get 2 quick outs, and then it's like he's just almost playing with his food in the 3rd at bat of an inning. You get 2 quick outs, and you have a chance to get out of an inning with only 10 to 12 pitches and really help out your pitch count for that start. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're pitching for a strikeout because, you know, we're ahead 1-2 in the count. And then next thing you know, it's full and you're still trying to strike the guy out with, you know, a slider in the dirt or whatever it may be. And it's like, sometimes just like gas the guy up a little bit and just come right at him and trust that he isn't going to be able to hit your, you know, high 90s fastball when you've been averaging, you know, 93, 94 on your fastball, you know, earlier on in the at bat. It's just things like that. And I think some of it had to do with their philosophy with the prior regime as well, and just not wanting to give these hitters something good. And it's like, sometimes you got to just pitch to contact, plain and simple, because that's going to get you through a season way better than having all these 4-inning, you know, 90 pitch starts. That is going to wear you out quick when you're laboring, like Cody said, every single inning. So, and I definitely think Hicks can do it. It's just a matter of, is he going to have that mindset, or is he going to get caught up in trying to strike guys out again? That's a huge question for me.
Yeah. For sure. And like, to me, if you can throw 95 to 97 sink, there's no reason you should be struggling to throw strikes and get out of innings. Like, it's just plain and simple. And his splitter and his slider are plus pitches. Like, they're solid pitches. So all of us, I think all of us here hope to be wrong when it comes to Hicks. Like, we all see the potential. And I think with his upside, if he can actually eat innings, is probably like a number 3 starter. Like, he could be pretty solid, but it's a big if, and he hasn't really shown anything yet to make me believe that he's going to do it. But he'd be a steal with his deal. I mean, what, $11 million a year for 3 more years? If he could develop into that, we'd be thrilled. No one here is rooting against Jordan Hicks. I can promise that.
Yeah,
we just kind of disagree with the direction they shoot. They're better off going. I think we all just feel he's better off in the pen, where they can just be like, dude, go throw 104. That's what we want.
Yeah. Agreed. I feel like this is going to be something we're going to talk about more tomorrow privately, because apparently this happened very recently, that there was a Niacin interview with Marty Laurie, and one of the things they talked about was
Margie.
I say Marty. Why do I think?
No. Read the comment.
Margie Laurie.
When did they get his wife on?
The one name that's interesting in this is VR.
Yeah,
I want to read on that or listen to it or whatever, because I understand the wanting to let Wilmer and Lamont fight it out until Eldridge is up full time in 26. I get that, but VR is definitely an intriguing one. He's out of options, so
yeah, that's where it gets interesting for me. I don't know, like, because this could just be them, some little bit of roster politics as far as, like,
of course,
keeping your cards close or whatever. Because to me, it could mean a couple different things. I don't think there's a chance in hell they keep three catchers, but 3 first basemen. Now, granted, last year I said there's no chance in hell they'll keep 3 catchers, and they did for like 4 or 5 days before they inevitably had to try and move off of Bart. But I just don't see a universe where they do keep 3. So to me, I kind of read this as they're hoping somebody will pay more than he probably should cost for a guy that's out of options in VR. Or maybe they have less confidence in, where Flores is right now in his recovery, even though they said allegedly he's in the best shape of his life. So,
I mean, if we can get closer to the production Wilmer put up in like 2022, I think it was, or 2023, when he actually had a nice little power surge late in the season, even though they're all solo home runs. But if he can get back to that, at least you get some production power-wise from the first base position. And honestly, I really hope Lamonte Wade can stay healthy if they do end up having him play a lot of games there too, because we got to get that guy back up to at least like 15 to 17 home runs, because getting like 6 to 8 home runs out of basically your starting first baseman, you just cannot have that. That's way too low.
Not only just that, but Cody and I brought up your little stat earlier. 42 runs out of your starting first baseman.
Yeah.
Just runs. Yeah, that's insane.
I don't know if you guys brought this one up too, but in 78 less games, Jung-Hoo Lee only had 30 less runs than Lamonte Wade last year. Jung-Hoo Lee played in 37 games last year and had 30 less runs than your starting first baseman, who led off a lot of times.
And Jung-Hoo Lee was, quite frankly, the unluckiest hitter in baseball, like per every single stat that you can think of. So that's him underperforming compared to expectations and still coming that close in 30 games. That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, part of the defense of Wade that really bothers me too is the mindset that, well, if Ramos, Chapman, and Adames are all hitting behind him, it's very possible that oftentimes that they could end up stringing together multiple hits and driving him in. And that's just not realistic. Even if these guys are all getting 1 to 2 hits a game, the odds that they're all going to string together 4 hits in a row, like that is extremely difficult to do against major league pitching, even if you have the best hitters 1 through 4.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Giants fans, we have the nostalgia and love the whole, late night Lamont thing. It's not that he's a bad hitter by any means or a bad player. It's just he's not he shouldn't be your everyday first baseman, plain and simple. The run scored shows it. The lack of power shows it. The lack of ability to drive runs in shows it. Zero speed shows it. He's a nice complementary piece if you want. In my opinion, I would love to have him on the bench, come up in a situation where we need him to work a count. Great, by all means. But I don't want him as my starting first baseman. That's just me personally. Yeah. And can we look at George's comment really quick?
Flores' best shape of his life means he can walk without his walker. So optimistic. I'm almost 50, overweight, and still run faster than Wade and Flores after 2 ACL surgeries. I love it, George. Appreciate you, man.
What was Flores' percentile for sprint speed?
Oh, he's first.
He's one.
Fourth, right? I don't know.
Yeah, he's in the first percentile.
Wilmer Flores, first percentile for sprint speed. No, that is not a good number. That is the absolute worst. Patrick Bailey, 8th percentile sprint speed. Okay, he's the catcher. He gets a break. But your damn first baseman is 7th, worse than your starting catcher in sprint speed. That is insane. And please, dear God, don't throw Wade in the outfield and have all 3 of them in your starting lineup at the same time.
Did you see Slusser mentioned that today? How they're looking at giving Slusser mentioned today how they're looking at giving Wade opportunities in the outfield.
Yes. Slusser, the one who thinks that Wilmer Flores is only a platoon hitter and strictly only hits against lefties, but hits in the majority of his games against righties. That's your beat writer, guys.
This tweet, bro.
Dude, that would be great. If we're talking about Lamonte Wade bringing fans out to the yard, that's the way you're going to do it.
It put an end to the 3-hour games, though. That's the problem.
Hey, if you put a case of natural lights at the finish line, my money's on Bailey.
Yeah. Hey, Aaron, Benji Molina hit for a cycle. Let's put some respect on his name.
Yeah, go, Benji.
Plot twist. It is actually them in those costumes that is running, and whoever loses gets benched for the rest of the game.
Oh, man.
But Ziggy Slusser said that Wade is going to get opportunities in the outfield.
Yeah.
Also, Ziggy, in response to Cody on X, if you look up his X, she responded to Cody saying that Wilmer basically only hits against left-handed pitching, which is not at all true. I mean, all it takes is like a 2-second search to see that he hits more against righties, which you'd expect. There are more right-handed pitchers. Yeah. Check this out. This is your main insider, guys.
Yeah. I'm not saying we know everything, but come on, people.
No, this is just
don't pretend we're all idiots here.
A quick fact check. But everybody wants to believe everything her and Pav say all the time.
Yep. I couldn't go too deep. The character limits don't let me put they don't let me go too deep into why it was stupid what she was insinuating, because it was on a lot of levels. That was a rough one. Not your finest moment, Susan. Sorry.
But on a real note, I would love to see Gerard get like a fair opportunity at either the first base position or DH. Bomel said that, you know, it'll essentially be like a competition between Gerard and Wilmer for DH, which is surprising. Like the three of us have talked about privately, given the fact that just weeks ago they mentioned how they don't want to set like everyday DH. They want it to be a continuous rolling one. So I don't really understand what they have planned there, but I'd love to see Gerard get an everyday chance. His bat is insane.
I don't think Bob knows what they have planned there.
Yeah.
So friends, I don't even have a plug.
I honestly think we're gonna see a ton of Gerard and VR and Luciano in spring training to the first at least 2-3 weeks. I see those guys getting a ton of at bats to give them every chance to prove themselves, because I mean, VR, if I had to make a prediction, is probably your first man out just based on past history, but he's also one of those guys that could go absolutely ham in spring and hit, several bombs early on, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he might be in competition to win a bench spot or something, Yeah. But I fully expect Gerard to get a ton of looks early on in spring, because I mean, let's face it, Wilmer and Wade's spots are pretty solidified unless they make some last second trade late in spring.
And can I just say, like, piggybacking off of that comment, I don't know if we elaborated too much on it in the past video, but it pisses me off how we can't watch most, if any, spring training games. Like, that's so frustrating, man.
It's what, 6 this year?
We can watch 6 spring training games.
I think that's more than last year. Now, okay, does that include the spring breakout? Or is it actually?
I don't think it includes the spring breakout, because I wouldn't think, because you're not going to see any major leaguers in that game.
Yeah, I hope we get to watch that this year. It got rained out last year. It sucked.
Yeah,
I mean,
that'll be.
Ricky and I will be
really
watching all these guys in the minors, but still,
yeah, it's frustrating though, dude.
For sure. I mean, we talked about this a few shows ago, maybe like a month or so ago, but the Giants really need to look at getting a different TV deal, man, because what the Dodgers have is an absolute cash cow, because they own I think they have full ownership over their TV deal now. And so they're making a ton of profit off of that, where the Giants only own like 40-50%, something like that, I believe. I think Cody would remember the number better than I would, but if the Giants could get a better TV deal, it could make a huge difference.
I don't know what the percentage that they own is, but what I do know is that there's something where they have to pay, like, it's like a 52-48 payout, or like they keep a certain percentage and they have to pay a certain percentage that's supposed to go toward revenue sharing. But part of what the Dodgers make off of their TV deal isn't subject to that. So they have this like cushy deal where they're making way more money than other teams, and they don't have to even share a chunk of that money like other teams do with their deals. So that's the thing.
And unrelated to just the monetary value of this, is kind of piggybacking in the grand scheme of things related to Cody's beef on X. Fans are oh, we got to be positive. We got to be optimistic about, the season, blah, blah. We can't even view the product that's going to be on the field. Giants aren't even giving us the opportunity to watch the spring training. So
that might be by design.
Maybe by design, but it's like, so how can we be optimistic about a product on the field that's, in retrospect hasn't really, improved that much on a big level of viewing things, and then you can't even view them in the spring. So it's like, come on, man, work with us here.
Yeah.
That's me. Whatever.
So I didn't see the exact percentage, but the last article I saw had in 2022, the Dodgers made $104 million more than the Giants off of their TV deal. And that is a significant gap.
Yeah.
Duvall drone show entrance. you don't miss the light show, bro.
I love you guys. It's hilarious.
Dude, it never failed to be such like an intense light show and make it all dramatic, and then Duvall would come out, and then he'd have the my brain's not functioning right now.
Give up a hit, walk 2 dudes.
No, not even that. The pitch clock. You'd have 2 pitch clock violations, and then load the bases up. And I'm like, dude, we were getting all dramatic for this.
Yeah, there's no way to kill a light show quicker than just immediately just start hitting and walking dudes in pitch clock violations. Like, all right, here's a nice 1-0 count for free just to start off right after a light show. Yeah, I'll give them credit for that, though. At least they're trying to bring more excitement, because for years it was the old "Strangers in the Night" song with the kiss cam, and it was just like they did that for probably the last 15 years before this last season. It's like, all right, guys, let's bring a little bit more excitement, man. We're trying to bring in new, younger fans, not older fans. We gotta switch some stuff up. Or like the Braves, they have the track star dude that races against random fans and stuff. The freeze, yeah. An Olympian racing against drunk guys in tennis shoes.
Yeah. See, that's why I said the Giants should do their own version of the freeze, but do it with like Flores. And then Flores and then there's no head start. He races some random fans.
Instead of calling him the freeze, just call him the knees.
The knees.
What about
the knees?
Instead of the fan getting the head start, they give Wilmer Flores 100 head start. Oh,
so bad. That's great.
Wilmer's watching this, cussing at his screen right now.
Good. Okay, if Harrison and Birdsong are fighting for the 5th starter, the loser is in Sacramento pitching every 5th day. Yeah, I mean, so let's talk a little bit Harrison, Birdsong. Melvin came out and said those guys are competing for the 5th job. And, I don't know if he made a comment about that or if this is just kind of what Tom's saying, but I agree wholeheartedly. Whoever doesn't win that job needs to be in Sacramento. And I've said it pretty adamantly. Don't put these guys in a bulk role. Don't put them in the pen. And just be like, well, they're quality arms. Like, no, just keep developing them as starters. There's certainly a case to be made that Birdsong could use more time. His command wasn't, completely up to stuff when he came up. He basically skipped AAA entirely. I think he made 2 starts through like 9 total innings in AAA. We could make a case that he's not a finished product and he could use some more development. I mean, you can make the same case for Kyle Harrison. But especially if Harrison's velocity has come back, I do think he's probably the better bet right now. He's probably the more ready of the two. Something I did pull up is Kyle Harrison's numbers from last season. If you actually go all the way back, like through July 26th, he had a 3.69 ERA and a 1.28 WHIP. He was still walking too many guys. His fastball velo, I think, was down like 1 mile an hour from 2023. The average velo was down a tiny bit, but he wasn't the 89 mile an hour pitcher that we saw at the very end. The guy that was struggling to break 90. Like he if he can just get his velo back up into like the 94 range, I think we're all pretty, I think he's going to be pretty solid next season. So he's probably the favorite in all reality, but Birdsong's stuff's so good. I wouldn't be shocked if he does put the command together. He has more secondary pitches. So yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. And, I think all those guys are going to have to really be on top of it this year instead of getting handed jobs like Kyle kind of was last year. Obviously, like you said, he was solid out of the gate, but ultimately now this year you've got a healthy Roop coming back too. And while, he's probably not going to win a job, you still have Carson Wisenhunt sitting there who's going to get some innings in the spring too. And, he's a college guy that, he could very well have a role this year, maybe even out of the pen. It's not completely out of the possibility. They need another left-handed arm after trading Taylor Rogers away. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility that he ends up having a role early on in the season. Speaking of Roop, you look at last year in the spring, nobody in their right mind thought he was going to be making the opening day roster. And then they end up saying, we like this guy's stuff, we're going to throw him in the pen, even though that's not really the type of pitcher he is at all. But I don't think it's totally out of question if he has a really good spring.
Yeah. I do think he's a sleeper to win that fifth job. They're not really talking about him, but if both Harrison and Birdsong are like all over the map and can't find the strike zone, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
That said, I don't think Roop could hold up for a whole season right now. He's definitely not built up enough.
Yeah.
So that's where it was really unfortunate with the injury last year. Even if he could have just racked up a ton of innings and sack, you probably look at his situation way different to start this season.
Yeah. Chris or C. Davis, have you guys done or planned a show on roster predictions? I didn't really do a predictions show. I did do a video where I kind of just talked about the current state of the roster and like who I felt like was a lock, and then some of the spots that I could see them, being kind of up for grabs, because there were only like 18 guys that I felt like were a true lock for the roster.
I feel like as spring goes on, we should do like a 26-man roster prediction.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Maybe like 2 weeks out from the season.
Yeah, that'd be a cool one in the future.
Once we have 15 plus games under our belts or whatever.
I do want to bring up this comment here. Technically, we'd have a pretty solid AAA team if all the borderline MLB guys played every day in SAC. And there's two parts to this. Firstly, I think the River Cats will actually be kind of fun to watch this year. I plan on catching some games, so yeah, it'll be cool, especially if they move Bryce up to SAC and give him like a full season there. I think they might start him out in AA, but just in case if they do in SAC, it'd be pretty cool to see how he does in that altitude up there. And then if the Giants River Cats played 10 games, bet they would split. It's funny because they played remember when the River Cats played the Giants at the end of spring last year, and they got absolutely just smacked by them.
They lose like 6-0 or something like that. I think Mason Black threw like 4 shutout innings or 5 shutout innings.
They got blown out by the River Cats.
As funny as it is to joke about, though, I'm pretty confident that Pablo Sandoval started for the Giants in that game. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, he's kind of a automatic out at this point. He's playing on one of those like random independent league teams right now that Dan likes to joke about.
Staten Island Fairy Hawks, baby.
I don't know if he's on that one, but he's on one of those East Coast independent league teams again, I think.
Yeah. I want to get one of those hats. What was I sent it to you guys. It was like
exploding whales.
Not the exploding whales. It was like the bathtub beavers or something. I don't remember what it was. I don't remember what it was, but that logo looked dope.
That's
They got some weird team names in the minors, bro.
It's dude. One of the teams is like the Rubber Duckies or something like that in the Double A, I think, in the Eastern League.
I think it's Akron.
The Giants had the Churros for a while. That looked dope. San Jose Churros, I think they were.
Yeah, they do that. They do those a few times a year, I believe. The Rubber Ducks, they definitely play the Richmond team.
The Hartford Yard Goats.
That's a good one.
That's solid. Love it. We're all like Googling about minor league teams.
El Paso Chihuahuas. Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, the Rocket City Trash Pandas. Those are cool. Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp.
Yeah.
Marlins.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's some Toledo Mud Hens. What the hell?
This show's deteriorating.
Look, this is the one I'm gonna get you guys. The Amarillo Sod Poodles. I'm gonna get you guys a Sod Poodle shirt. There you go.
We're gonna start sending guys to random teams, and everyone thinks that we're gonna just be making them up, and we're like, nah, bro, these are real teams.
Dude, that's my next tweet. I'm gonna say, once Wilmer or Wade has they struggle in spring, I'm gonna be like, trade them to the Amarillo Sod Poodles.
Is this real?
Temecula Tortas.
Now the question is the logo a sandwich or a heavy set female?
Don't say it. You said it. Damn it, Ricky. I knew where you were going, and I said, don't say it.
They're a team whose mascot is a flaming marshmallow. What?
Mm-hmm. There is.
Oh my
All right,
God.
Tom, Aaron, don't let me down because I'm about to look this up to see what it looks like. This better not send me to some weird website.
I'm afraid to Google it. You can do it. You can do it. There's a flaming marshmallow.
Yeah, wait, what? Yeah, all right. Someone can look that up. All right, why don't we? Do you guys want to do some bold predictions?
Let's do it, man.
Let's do it.
But yeah, okay. So before we start that, I do think we're about.
I found it. Sorry to cut you off. Rocky Mountain Vibes is the name.
Someone definitely.
Fun fact: my college pitching coach actually coached them. I think they have. That's like a college summer ball team, I believe. So they actually have guys that end up becoming pro, I believe, that play for them. That's just like a summer.
The logo's kind of cool. It's like a s'more on fire. It's pretty cool. But yeah, we should do predictions though. That was what the whole plan was for the show.
Aaron, you really let me down, man. I don't think this team exists. I'm very disappointed.
That's just sad.
I'm like, that would be impressive if Temecula's got some kind of semi-pro or pro team and Pablo's playing down there.
Dan's gonna go create an independent league team.
I'll do it.
Jesus.
Also, if any of you guys have the hookup to do a meet and greet with Wilmer Flores, please let us know privately, me or Cody. Yeah, we're gonna set up a Make-A-Wish.
Yeah,
for Dan.
The dude, he would probably try to fight me.
He's like, I know about you.
I would just outrun him. It's all good.
Yeah,
until his knees give out.
Humboldt Crabs, semi-pro team.
That's a good one. And you guys gonna see the Ballers this season? I probably will, just for fun.
Yeah, I'm not close enough, unfortunately.
The Giants
they're around the same age. How old do you think I am, bro?
Fun fact: Dan is the youngest one here.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's the baby. All right, what happened to Arback? He's in AAA. I know that.
He fell off.
Yeah,
he definitely fell off the last year or so.
Aren't you 40 or something? Damn.
Dude,
I know Ziggy's out in that barn laughing his ass off right now.
Yeah.
While his buddies making fun of him.
Dude, I went into that. I went to my wife's classroom like last year. So she played the game with all the 8-year-olds. She teaches 3rd grade. She does the game with all the 8-year-olds. We're like, how old is he? And they're all like, 94. And I'm like, what the hell? Okay, Merlin. Like, damn. God. All right, let's do some bold predictions. Screw it. We'll get to that. So we don't really have any set parameters for this, I should say. So bold predictions. What do we thinking here? Like, do we want to keep it to the minors? Do we want to do both? Do we want to just how we want to do this?
I've got both, but
yeah, we can do both.
All right. And people send in your stuff too, but who wants to kick it off?
I'll go. So bold predictions for the season. My boldest one is I predict the Giants will have 2 30-plus home run hitters this year.
Damn.
That's mine, man. I'm thinking Adames and Ramos. I think the 2 of them lead the way, and I think they both eclipse 30. I think Chappie comes close. He'll probably push around 26, 25, but yeah, I think we have 2 30-plus home run hitters. That's my major league one. Wilmer and Ramos. Yeah, okay.
Hey, Wilmer and Ramos combined for 23 last season.
See what he did there, guys?
What was the game with the Laker game where they're like, in this game, Kobe Bryant, Kwame Brown combined for 81 points?
Yeah. And then my
legend.
In my minor league prediction is I think 3 higher profile guys debut. And those 3 are going to be Trent Harris, Carson Wisenhunt, and Bryce Eldridge. I think all 3 of them debut.
Spoilers, Dan. Come on, man.
What? Do you have the same one?
No. That's my video next week that I just posted.
Is it?
Oh, man.
Scratch the tape, everyone.
That's why we're friends, Cody. We think the same. You didn't even tell us that you were doing that.
Yes, I did.
Did you?
No, it's all good. So in case anybody's wondering, I might be changing the title of that video that I recorded.
I genuinely didn't even know. We're like connected on the same wavelength with our brains or something.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Just make the title say prediction Dodgers finish 2nd behind Giants for the division in 2025 and then have it nothing about that.
Why the Dodgers suck. Just trigger a bunch of Dodger fans. Oh, man. All right, you got one, Ricky? Right. Or you want me to
go? We can go around the horn. I actually have a few for the minors. We kind of talked about this a couple days ago. For the majors, it's funny because Dan actually I wrote down 2. Mine was Adames, Chapman, and Ramos, all 30 home runs. Obviously, it's bold. My other one was Jung-Hoo Lee to be the first 300 hitters since Posey in 2021.
That's a good one.
Oh, 2021. For some reason, my brain was thinking 2012. I was like, we haven't had one since 2012.
Technically, Blake Sable was over 300 last year, but I refuse to count that.
No. You have to be a qualified hitter, people.
Exactly. I'm not doing that.
All right. I'll throw one out there. This is one that I've kind of alluded to on a few different shows. My bold prediction is the Giants are going to have 4 top 100 prospects after the season.
That's a good one.
I don't know who. I can't guarantee with any kind of confidence which 4. Bryce is the one that if he is still not graduated off that list, I feel obviously he should still be on there then at that point. But aside from that, you look at the Giants system right now, it doesn't feel like they have a lot of guys that were particularly close. I know Tibbs made a couple just miss lists. Carson Wisenhunt was on the list and fell off. I think it's going to be difficult for him to get back on the list without actually forcing his way to the major league roster, in which case he would fall right back off the list. So I didn't have Wisenhunt as one of my 4. I'm leaning Bryce, Arias. I think Joe Whitman is going to be on the list. I think he has a big year. And then who do I go for the 4th? I don't think Josh Ward is going to be on there yet.
Not yet.
I don't think so. Not this early.
Yeah, not early enough. I'm going to go. I think Tibbs. Actually, I think Tibbs will be the 4th. I think Tibbs plays well enough to kind of jump into that 80-90 range. And then I think the other 2 guys have big years.
It's a good one.
A lot of guys that could do it. Guys like Jordan, Walker Martin if he bounces back. Some of these guys.
Did you see the little clip that the Giants posted was just guys taking BP? I don't know if you saw it.
Dakota's beautiful swing.
Dude, that swing is... I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, dude, if he can put it all together.
Which one? Who? Jordan?
Jordan, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, we were kind of making fun of that swing.
What's funny is if you look at a lot of his home run swings in college, there is a lot of similarities there still. It's very weird. He keeps not just his head, but his entire body very still, really late into his swing. And then all of a sudden it's just super violent all at once. It's like a lot of hitters, they look to try to, obviously hit the top half of the baseball. But with Jordan, it almost looks like he's swinging completely over the top of the baseball every time. It's very odd.
It's super violent. That's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah. You can see the hand speed with him. It's insane.
That's why I say if he can put it all together, he can be nasty.
There is nobody in their system with more upside. That for sure. I mean, you can make an argument with like Josh Hart, but yeah,
his raw power is insane.
Yeah, when you have 80 grade raw power and then like 70 plus grade speed to go with it. Yeah,
they just really need to be super hands-on with him as they develop him, especially in low A, because he'll start there. He didn't really get any time last year in pro ball, so he'll start there, but they need to be really hands-on with him. And the Giants do have a very good coach down there in San Jose, but they need to be very hands-on with that guy, because he's a guy that if you can really squeeze the lemon with him, you're going to have a very high-end prospect, and he'll race up those top 100 lists real quick. Had he got a little bit of pro ball time in last year and produced, we might see him as, one of those guys like Tibbs just missing the top 100.
Kind of piggybacking off of that comment where you say, to have the coaching staff get a little hands-on. What did you guys think of all those, former players that they're bringing into spring? And supposedly they're having like JT Snow, for instance, like kind of mentor Bryce more, hands-on one-on-one. What do you guys think of, that whole idea of getting all those former players in spring?
I mean, I think it's a good thing. I mean, these guys have like a wealth of knowledge, and I don't think it's a bad thing to have more guys like that. I mean, it's like I said in the group chat yesterday that if JT Snow comes in with one job and one job only, and that's to get Bryce Eldridge's defense as far along as he can, it's worth it, in my opinion. I mean, he won 6 Gold Gloves in a row at one point.
Yeah,
that was great defensively. I'd love for them to get, Clark working with him there. I'd love for them to get Brandon Belt to show up and help him with his defense. Like, I don't think you're gonna paralysis by analysis the kid. Just get as much knowledge that you can to help him.
Yeah, I think it's just a fresh set of eyes too. It's, coaches that aren't seeing these guys every single day that can see little specific things that stand out. But it's not just so much, mechanics and physical stuff. I think it's, really teaching these guys how to be pros and how to be winners and teaching them the mental side of the game, especially while these guys are still really young, I think is huge. And it's something, unfortunately, that, the past regime kind of pushed off to the side. They brought in all their own guys and a lot of people that didn't have the same level of professional experience as these guys do. And I think that's definitely something you want to get back to, because obviously these guys have a wealth of knowledge, and it's like, why wouldn't you bring these guys in? They demand so much respect from even big leaguers, like they want to hear what these guys have to say. So why wouldn't you bring these guys in if they want to give up their time? I'd love to even see, Brandon Crawford come back and start working with these guys once it's been a little bit more time since he's retired, and work with, Walker Martin and some of these younger guys that are going to be coming up, Joshua and all these guys. It'd be really cool to see.
Yeah, he already lives in Arizona.
Yeah.
Even with his 12 kids, he probably could still swing by.
So,
yeah. We're 9 away, Cole. I don't think it's going to happen tonight, unfortunately, but if we do go on a tear while we're in the middle of this, get more subs, we'll definitely do the giveaway, but it'll probably happen in 2 weeks then when I get back from vacation. So couple of predictions here. I have more for that I came up with. I don't know if you guys had a few more, but Jenny says bold predictions: Logan Porter comes up for cashing at some point. 2025 Jackson Reeds vibes. So others may live. Bold prediction: Verlander has 6+ wins by All-Star break. I like that. I think if he's healthy, it's definitely doable.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to be feeling really good.
Yeah. Is Jonah Cox any good?
He's fast.
He's fast. He makes other fast people look not fast. Yeah, you know what, Jonah Cox, I like the prospect. He did great in San Jose. He kind of hit a wall in high A this last season. He was on pace to steal 70+ bags though. He missed over a month and he still had 50 something steals.
Yeah.
Dude can fly.
When Randy Wynn, talked a few weeks back about how they challenged him to try to steal 100 bags in the minors just to see, different looks and stuff. That's definitely the guy that you want to tell that to, because he could actually get there if he gets on base enough. 100%.
Yeah.
He's that good of a base stealer. I do worry that he might end up being like a Darren Ford type. I just don't know that the bat's going to carry all the way through the upper minors, but I mean, it's an exciting prospect nonetheless. You never know. He does not hurt.
He did hit well in college. He hit well in San Jose. Time will tell.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be a big time batter or anything like that. He just needs to be able to hit more than a guy like Billy Hamilton or Darren Ford. That's all.
Yeah.
So, do you guys have any more bold predictions?
Yeah. So, some of the ones that I had, Jacob Christian and Jeremiah Jenkins each hitting 25 home runs this year. I anticipate both of them getting off to hot starts and forcing their way to Eugene by the end of the year. So I'm kind of considering the totality of the whole season, both San Jose and Eugene combined, but I see them forcing their way up there, considering both of them are college guys with, plenty of experience. And then another one I had was Bo Davidson winning the batting title at High A Eugene. I'm hoping they'll kind of push him up to that level
Yeah.
Given the year he had last year, and he's a little bit older. He's an undrafted free agent signing.
He's gonna be 24 or 23 this year.
Yeah, I think 24. So he's a little bit older. So they kind of, stopped wasting time with him. He got off to a little bit of a slow start, battling some injuries, I believe. But and then my last one is kind of like what you're alluding to earlier, was Joe Whitman having a breakout year. I said a 2.50 ERA and ending up as the Giants' number 2 prospect behind Bryce by the end of the season.
All right.
And he's a high enough upside arm that I could see, actually getting a little bit of a way up the top 100 list in the MLB, being in that like 60 to 70 range. Because of all the quality pitches he has. He just needs to get the command together.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how Birdsong was coming into last season. He needs to just kind of put it all together.
Yeah, he definitely looked like a guy that was on the cusp of having just a huge year last year, and he just a lot of inconsistency he battled. Great stuff though. Have a good night, Ziggy. Thanks for hanging. Before I get into my next one, Drew says, any guys I should look out for in San Jose? There's actually a lot. San Jose is probably going to be the most exciting collection of talent in the system. If Rainer Arias shows up there, I'd be watching out for him. I don't know if Walker Martin, if they're going to make him stay in San Jose again. He'll be a good one to watch. Dakota Jordan, Jeremiah Jenkins, Jacob Christian, Xander Darby. Those are all guys I would expect there. Lisbeth Diaz is probably going to start there. Ryan Reckley will probably be playing second base there. On the pitching side, maybe Bresnahan is there.
Probably.
Sure. Yeah.
He'll probably start there. He got roughed up a little bit after getting traded.
Guessing. Am I missing anyone? That was kind of the list.
I mean, later on in the season, we'll probably see some of these complex league guys get up there. Maybe, like we said, an outside shot. Johnny Level kind of carries over what he did last year. Outside shot, he makes it up at the tail end of the season. That would be really cool. He's obviously an exciting guy we've talked about.
Yeah.
Who else could they have up there?
I'd have to pull up their list,
and honestly, some of those guys you mentioned, they might not spend a ton of time down there, but either way, like they're going to be, I guarantee all year long, they're going to be exciting to watch, because even guys that they promote up to Eugene will get, those spots will get filled up by some of the other guys. But it's a huge year for Rainer Arias, Walker Martin, Ryan Reckley, all highly regarded guys. So I fully expect one of these guys to finally break out and start showing a little bit of their ceiling.
It's like I said a few weeks ago, like the odds are one of these guys will break out. It's certainly possible. The Giants have found a way to have none of their super toolsy high-end prospects break out, it feels like, for a while, until Bryce finally did. But like, you keep giving yourself shots. Some point, one of these guys is going to be like a super crazy exciting prospect, you would think. So I'll do this one, and then I'll do my next prediction. What is the story on Reggie Crawford after the injury? No one is talking about his recovery. He suffered torn labrum, had shoulder surgery. The last update I saw, this is in Baseball America, is that he is likely going to miss the entire season. So unfortunate. Explosive arm. Wish he was healthy. He'd probably be a favorite to be the other left-handed pitcher out of the pen, but unfortunately, he is probably not going to pitch in 2025. My next bold prediction is this is going to be the final season of the new left fielder every year. This will be the final year that we have a new left fielder every single season.
So who's going to start in left field, though, this year? That's the question.
Yes. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Ramos. And this is a risk, because not just because Ramos could theoretically fall off, but with Yaz not under contract next year, I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that Ramos gets kicked to right field.
I was just going to say
that's
that.
my risk here.
I mean, there's a lot of ways that they could change that up going into next year. Matos, Luciano, it could be any of those guys. I mean, there's other guys that could make their way up too. I mean, shoot, they could even move Bryce over there. There's so many different ways.
Yeah.
That they
but
could
I'm going to roll with that one. I'm going to go with it's going to be the final year that we have to deal with that. And also, they're going to have a 30 stolen base guy. I think Fitzgerald's going to actually steal 40. We're going to end that streak too. Tired of that.
That would be
it's embarrassing.
Super fun to watch somebody actually steal bags on this team. I've missed that element, especially in this park, man. And
I love it. I was going to say, I love the stat that Cody always throws out of the last time the Giants had a 30-plus stolen base guy in a season.
Dave Roberts.
Dave Roberts.
That guy. It's embarrassing, man.
Maybe next Giants-Dodgers home game, we need a Dave Roberts versus Wilmer Flores race. Who pulls their hammy first?
Dave Roberts' old ass would still win that race.
They would smoke.
I think he would. Yeah. He might pull a hammy at the same time as Flores and still win that race.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a funny way to do it. My next bold prediction.
Tristan Casas.
My next bold prediction is Tom Murphy throws out 5 people.
I'm not even
hecklers in the stands.
I'm not even joking. If Tom Murphy throws out 5 runners this year, I will buy a lottery ticket. I will be just dumbfounded by that.
Hey, you know my deal. I already told somebody that if he clears 5, I have to buy a Tom Murphy jersey and hang it on my wall for a year.
Well, it's crazy how that's such a low.
Now, how many wild throws into center field by Murphy before Lou from NorCal gets tossed out of a game? I would love to hear that.
Here's one. Tom Murphy will have. Which one will Tom Murphy have more of? Throwing errors or caught stealings?
I think we know the answer.
I was like, do we really need to think about it?
No.
We really don't. It's bad. My prediction is Giants trade for Boston first baseman Tristan Casas now that they've signed Bregman. Yeah, we kind of talked about a little bit in our group chat that it would make sense for Boston to move Casas, but I'm not 100% that Boston will. And I don't see the Giants doing it. As much as I would love to see Casas, I just think this team is very adamant that they do not want to do anything where they feel like they're blocking Bryce Eldridge.
Yeah.
And I almost think that Boston would want young, like big league level talent. I don't think they would. I just don't know that there's anything really that they would want from the Giants. They have some really, really high end prospects that are getting really close to the big leagues. And they now have a decent amount of pitching, which we couldn't say before. And I don't know unless they would want like a Wisenhunt, but you'd have to pair it with something else. And I just don't know what you'd be able to give them for Casas, honestly.
I think the package starts with Hayden Birdsong.
Yeah, or somebody like that. Yeah, somebody that's like big league ready, because they have a little bit more pitching now, but if they're going to acquire any, it needs to be somebody who can throw in the MLB this season.
I think you're looking at Birdsong and you're going to look at another good prospect because Casas is proven.
Yeah.
So
he's got a pretty nice ceiling. I mean, I would love Casas on the Giants. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if the Red Sox are the greatest fit for the Giants in a trade.
Yeah. Dude can hit. It'd be nice. George says Murphy's going to have more throwing errors than caught ceilings and base hits. Does Tom Murphy have more pass balls or home runs?
Wait, what was that? What was that stat you were throwing around with Austin Slater last year? He had more something than base hits. I'm pretty sure.
My Slater thing that I joked about all year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or was it more double plays than hits?
No.
He had more facial hair styles than hits.
At what? For over a month of the year last year, Austin Slater had more facial or had either the same or more facial hairstyles than base hits. It was like June when he finally ended that. I think it was like June 4th or something. He finally passed it. I'm like, okay, I think he's out of facial hairstyles at this point that he could realistically go to, because he went from like the full beard to a mustache to a clean shaven, or it was a goatee. And then I think he skipped the mustache. And I was like, dude, it was bad. It was like June when he finally got ahead.
He had like 4 different facial hairstyles and like 3 hits on the year after like 2.5 months of the season.
I will never forget Pavs replying on Twitter defending Austin Slater to no end, and that just aging like some spoiled milk so damn quick. He got traded to the Reds, and how long did he last on that team for? Like 2 weeks? And then he got traded to the Orioles and still continued to do nothing in a stacked lineup in a platoon role catered to him. I'm like, it was so bad.
You know, anybody that ever thinks that the Giants have the worst ownership in baseball and like the worst front office, just remember that Austin Slater said the White Sox told him he was their number 1 target this offseason. Just remember that. It can get worse, everybody.
And who did the White Sox just acquire today too? Just
Gallo?
Joey Gallo
tonight too. So they're having a fantastic offseason. They're really going all in. And Gallo will probably have like 25 bombs by the All-Star break and get traded for a legitimate prospect.
And then absolutely tank for whatever team he trades for. If Eldridge is tearing up in this spring, do you think he has a chance to make the roster? I mean, if the defense shows out, maybe. I think it's pretty slim, but it is interesting that Kruko kind of leaked it out there that a lot of people in the organization think his bat's ready at 20 years old. So if they think his bat's ready, I think there's an outside chance at least.
I really wonder how much they're going to hold guys back in the minors, because we've been so used to, especially the last 2 to 3 seasons, guys getting rushed through the minors so quickly, like even Bryce, rushing through multiple levels in a very short time frame. I really wonder how much different it's going to be this year if they're truly going to hold guys to like almost 1 level per season, unless they're completely on fire for a couple months, or if they're actually going to just say, you know what, screw it, we'll throw Bryce in Sacramento to start the year. He has 1 hot month, we're going to call him up right away, or how they're actually going to go about that if they, kind of stick to what Buster and Randy Wynn both said on that.
Yeah, it seems like they have their hearts set on giving these guys like an extended look in the minor leagues. So,
yeah, they're gonna make him force his way, I think.
Yeah.
Hard. Few more here. Let's see. Aaron says bold prediction: Jung-Hoo Lee will be an all-star. I hope so. It'd be awesome.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have a really good year. I don't know if it'll be one that catches a lot of attention, be an all-star, although I think if he's having a really high-end year, he'll get a ton of fan votes. So maybe, because he's wildly popular already amongst Giants fans. But yeah, I don't know. That'd be awesome if he is, because I mean, God, if he could be a 4 or 5 wins above replacement player in center field, we're gonna be freaking thrilled.
Absolutely.
I don't know. You guys have any other bold predictions for the year?
No, none particular.
No, that was all I had.
Yeah. Nothing too crazy. I'll try and think of. You know what? Here, I'll throw one out there. I'll throw one more. For the first time since 2012, when Buster Posey did it, Giants have a 100 RBI guy. And it's not Willie Adames.
What do you think?
I'm going Ramos.
Ramos?
Yeah.
Good one.
I would definitely say Ramos too, just because he's a lot better with runners in scoring position than Chapman.
Yeah.
I think I'll go with Ramos too. Has it really been that long? 2012?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say
that is
Mispy nailed it. I remember when
insane.
Pence got 99 and 16. I was pissed he didn't get the 100.
Did Pence have 99?
He did, dude.
That is brutal, man.
No, it was 2013. It was 13. It was the contract year because he was like, he went on a freaking heater. We all were wondering if he would make it to the to 30 homers.
Mm-hmm.
And then like they didn't really get close for a while. And then Belt had the year where he had the 29 and he broke his hand in Colorado. I was so mad that he broke his hand in Coors. I was like, this dude's gonna do it.
He was on a tear. He was gonna do it.
Yeah, he hit like 8 home runs in September or some crap. It was like ridiculous. The dude was mashing.
He had a September like yes.
Remember he had the captain thing? They long ago taped the C on him.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. We'll do the 100 ribbies. I'm gonna throw that one out there.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to I would honestly think Adames would, but I do like the Ramos one.
Yeah. My thought process is if Lamonte Wade Jr. is leading off, then you know, Ramos will get a lot of opportunities when he's on third base with one out after Adames doubles him to third.
Yeah, Adames is gonna have to hit bombs to get Wade home.
Adames is gonna hit doubles, and this dude's gonna be stuck on third, and Adames is gonna be like, "Why the hell did I sign here?" And then,
all I gotta say, man, is if
Merchant Elliot Ramos is gonna knock him in.
If Wade truly is gonna be the leadoff hitter, get back to some damn hit and runs, man. Get that guy moving. Give him a head start, please.
Yeah. Would it be a bold prediction if I said Wade will score 50 runs this season?
That's honestly pretty bold, and it's sad to say.
Five more than last season.
Man. God.
And he played in a
side? Oh, go ahead.
Any bold predictions?
Someone brought up Verlander earlier. Do you guys have any bold ones on the pitching side?
Verlander and Webb both make the All-Star game.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, if Verlander's feeling as good as he says he is, we'll see, you know, once the season gets going and he's in the swing of things again. I mean, it's not crazy. I mean, he's still got really good stuff. His velo isn't like significantly down from, you know, like league average or anything like that crazy. Like he'll be totally fine. His stuff's good, and he's totally been able to evolve throughout his career. So, you know, and in this park, I mean, he's been pitching in freaking Houston. Like that is not a good place to pitch at all.
Yeah.
Houston in a division with, you know, Texas too. I don't know. I think Verlander definitely could have a good year. You just got to stay healthy. Honestly, it's not crazy to think of in this park.
Yeah. I'll throw one out there for pitchers. Since we're going for bold, Ryan Walker leads leads Major League Baseball in saves.
It's a good one.
I think the Giants are going to play a lot of tight games.
A lot of close games, yep.
And I think he's a guy that is willing and able to go get a 4+ out save.
What was Doval a couple of years ago? At one point, he was like right around second or third, I think, for a lot of the 2023 season. I don't know what he finished with, but he was way up there.
I think he was leading in saves for the first half.
He was.
And then he got like 3 saves in the entire month of August because the team just took a dump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was leading the first half. My pitching side bold prediction. Webby's a Cy Young candidate.
There we go. Candidate or winner?
Candidate. I will say he'll be a finalist.
That would really suck if he finished like second or third again.
Yeah, it would.
He's been really close. Duvall actually was tied for second in saves in 2023, and he was only 4 behind Clase.
I'm pretty sure he was leading at the break when he was an all-star, and then the team just
just like last year.
Ooh, this is bold though. Paul gets his job back.
I mean, it's possible.
I think Walker's going to have to fall apart for him to get his job back. I unfortunately, I think it's out of his control at this point. Walker is going to have to be not reliable in that spot because if the reality is it's the whole if it's not broke, don't fix it. Yeah. If Walker's being reliable and closing games out, they're not going to trade. They're not going to move off of him, no matter how good Duvall looks. Yeah. So that's the tough part there. Barring injury, of course. Yeah, I don't have any more. Do you guys have any more before we hop off?
I don't have anything else, man.
I could think of one last one. I could see the bullpen being top 5 in the league in bullpen ERA as being like a solid bold prediction. Not saying it's going to happen, but saying like it's not impossible if everything goes right with Walker, Duvall returning to form, Rogers kind of being right around what his average season is, and then Miller and Rodriguez continuing to improve. It could be a huge strength. Having Beck back for a full season, it could be a really, really good unit. So yeah, I think I'll go with that too.
That's a good one.
Their league average last year.
For sure.
Yeah, I think they're 14th or 15th in MLB last year. So,
it's for 2/3 of the season at least. All right,
that's all I got.
All right, everyone. I think we're gonna call it there. We'll wrap it up. We went a little longer than usual. I'm like struggling to stay awake, man.
No, you're good, bro.
Took some Alka-Seltzer. I'm just like earlier I messaged you guys and I was like, I'm feeling drowsy. Oh man. Good. All right. Well, appreciate everyone that hung out tonight. We'll catch you guys all. Well, actually, I won't be here next week. These two are going to record live for you guys on Friday, probably. It sounds like they'll just stick with the normal Fridays. Those two are going to record something for you guys Friday. I do have a couple videos that will get released, Monday and Wednesday. Hopefully all of you guys forgot Dan's comment, so one of them won't be like a total giveaway. And but anyway, appreciate you guys. Go Giants. And you guys got anything to add?
No.
Nope. Sorry for unintentionally spoiling your video, but just disregard that, guys.
I'm just gonna cut it out of this. Just put some sound over it, like when you go to talking. Like my prediction is just gonna be like wah wah wah. Oh God! All right, everyone. Peace out. We'll talk to you guys next week.
All right,
guys.